Hi, everyone. This is Miranda from the Valuable Voices podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to one of my favorite people, I can honestly say. Jenn Lockhart Grant is her name on Facebook if you want to find her. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
I think I figured I was watching her on Facebook for like 5 years. I honestly don't know how I got connected to her. Who knows? Maybe somebody shared it, doesn't matter. But I saw her story and I was blown away by her positivity, her like before and after pictures. I'll let you share her story, but um eventually she attracted her now husband, and I joined their evolution membership, monthly membership. And I love that we do book clubs. I just love who Jenn is. As I'm dating, she helped me with my relationship vision and I got crystal clear on what I wanted. And through her and her story with Mac, I now believe that my perfect person is out there and I'm not going to settle. So she's coached me through that, which has been amazing. And she has an amazing podcast. Sometimes it's her, sometimes it's Mac, sometimes it's the two of them. And I just love listening to it. So I'll post that in here too. But the Evolution podcast with Jenn and Mac, I probably didn't say it right, but I love getting the man's perspective, but also the woman's. So Jenn, thank you for being here. I just want you to kind of share your story, kind of what you've been through to get to where you are today.
Well, thank you again for having me and thank you for that introduction. I am kind of blown away by all that you just shared. But I'm excited to be here. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we connected somewhat 5 years ago ish. I'm not really sure exactly how we connected either, but 5 years ago, I was in a completely different place in life than I am now. Um, and I actually, like 5 years ago, I was sharing a lot of my journey of my sobriety on Facebook because I got sober in July 2018. And I started sharing that journey on social media. I think my very first post was like when I was like 37 days sober or something.
Yeah.
And my journey since I, even decided to start sharing, but just it was really when I decided to take control of my life.
Yeah.
And when I decided to start taking control of my life and I started sharing about it, like that's when my life really started to change. Before that, I was kind of like asleep at the wheel, but doing the best I could, if that makes sense.
Yes. And
So
I think many people can relate to that.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I started sharing my journey of sobriety in 2018, and I never like my journey really was like I never really wanted to get sober or thought I was going to get sober. What I was really after was happiness.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
just wanted I just wanted to be happy. And so what I did was I started doing quote unquote the work towards happiness.
Hmm.
And the work, what that looked like to me in the very beginning was um, focusing on gratitude, telling myself affirmations of like what I wanted, like I am a good mother,
Yeah.
you know, and surrounding myself with people who have what I wanted. And the people that I found that had what I wanted, like truly, they were in network marketing,
Hmm.
actually. And so I joined network marketing and started surrounding myself with those people and doing what the happy people did.
Yep.
And the happy people were, but like I said, focusing on gratitude. They were doing personal development. They were showing up at events and surrounding themselves with happy people. And
Mhm.
so that's literally what I started doing. And on my journey towards happiness, that's what when I was able to get sober because I was on a journey of happiness. And as I was finding happiness, it then got really easy to start letting go of everything that didn't serve me,
Mm.
if that makes sense. So I spent about 2 years surrounding myself with these happy people, doing the work, doing all the things. I was still drinking. But then what I did was like, I got to a point where like I actually started feeling happy. And at the time, I was still married to my now ex-husband. I was still, I was waitressing at the time, and I was still drinking all the time, but I was like starting to get happy. And it wasn't things outside of me that were really changing. Mainly, like I said, I was still married to the same guy. I still had the same job. I was still, overweight. I was still drinking all the time. But was what was starting to change was what was going on inside of me.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I got to a point, July 5th, 2018, where like I'm starting to feel happy. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really need this alcohol anymore. And I was actually drinking every single night to
Hmm.
the point where I was almost blacking out. Like it was not good. It was not good. And so I made the decision, and that night was the last night that I drank. Um, and then I woke up the next morning and kind of started on a new path of sobriety, but still working towards, happiness and fulfillment, really. I knew
Yeah.
there had to be more. Like that's what I wanted. And at
Yeah.
this point, I'm now surrounding myself around people that had everything I wanted. So I knew it was possible for me too.
Hmm. I love that.
Kind
Number one, congratulations, because I know that about you, but like that's a really big deal and we're celebrating. So that's amazing. I forget what you're at now. Obviously 6 years plus, which is incredible. So just want to
of,
celebrate that.
yeah, thank you so much. And so I've noticed that just like when you're talking about like sobriety, I've realized like it's a lot much easier to decide what you want and move towards that and focus on what you want rather than focusing on what you don't want, if that makes sense. So a lot of people who are quote unquote trying to get sober or like want to get sober, they're focused on the sobriety, but what they're going to be losing,
Right.
which is why oftentimes I think they may get sober for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but then start drinking again because they're not focused on a like a higher desire,
Yeah.
right? When I focused on happiness, like as I'm getting happy, it got easy for me to just let go of all the things getting in the way of that.
Got it. That's so good.
Which is why now 6 years later, I'm still sober and happy,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so yes, I was sharing my journey online, and I think that did inspire a lot of people because at the time, 6 years ago, not a lot of people were talking about sobriety.
True.
I Yeah, I know for me, like most of my friends started their journeys and started sharing them after I did.
Mhm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so continuing on this journey of like happiness, um, eventually I was able to let go of my husband. And he was great, but he was, blocking blocking that desire for me. So like I had to let him go, and it just got easier and easier to just start letting things go and focusing on, what I ultimately want, which is like happiness, fulfillment, and a life that just like lights me up, you
Yeah.
know? And so I mean, it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. And a couple of things, like I know you've talked about having a desire to have a great relationship and co-parent well together. So that's been inspiring, right? And I know you've talked about a single mom, like it's going to be hard, and you decided it doesn't have to be hard. So it's like we have these beliefs or people tell us beliefs, but then we can decide what we want to believe, right?
I will say that letting go of what doesn't serve you or what's not right for you to get to what is and where you ultimately want to go is not always easy.
Yeah.
Like getting sober, as great as that sounds, it's not easy because there's a lot that goes into that too that you don't realize. Like you lose a lot of friends.
Hmm.
and you lose a life that you once had, and it can be feel very lonely, right?
Well, same as divorce, right? You had an identity and now you're somebody else, truly.
Same thing. Exactly. When I decided to divorce my husband, now ex-husband, like even though I knew that was right, just like I knew getting sober was right, um, it's still hard.
Yeah.
Right? But the blessing is when you know what you want and it gets easier to let these things go, you find ways to embrace the suck.
Yeah.
And when and because the truth is, and the better you get at embracing the suck, like the better life just is in general, because I feel like life doesn't always look the way we think it's supposed to, or it doesn't always go the way we want it to go, right? And so, even though I feel super happy, super fulfilled, life is great, there's still things in my life that aren't perfect.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
Right. But learning to embrace it and like get through it, is a skill.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. And it's not, like I said, it's not always easy, but like it's worth it's worth it, I feel like, to get to where you ultimately want to
Yeah.
go.
What do you think was the breaking point for you to be like, I need to do something different?
Which time?
The first time, like I've heard you talk about somebody invited you to, hey, Jen, you want to change your life? You want to change your life? And you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I think so. The breaking point was like having a really strong desire, but also a lot of pain.
Hmm.
Like there was a lot of pain where I was at. And it's like when the pain of where you want to go becomes less than the pain of where you're at, that's when you jump.
Yeah.
And sometimes the pain of where we're going feels like it's too much or too big, which is why we don't jump,
Right.
right? But once that pain, it's like wherever the pain will, like human behavior is, will move away from wherever the most pain is, right? And
Yep.
sometimes, like being in a relationship where you're unfulfilled, there's a lot of pain involved in that, but there's also a lot of pain in, being alone.
Yeah.
And so it's like wherever the pain feels greater, you'll stay away from that. So if the pain of being alone is greater than the pain of being with someone but
Right.
unfulfilled, you'll stay in that relationship. But once the pain of being unfulfilled in the relationship gets to be too much, the door opens. And it's like you can either jump through it or you start making excuses and you stay stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like, what do you want to do?
and there's fear and uncertainty and all the things on the other side of it. But I'm sure you can look back and be like, worth it. Like your life is totally different now.
Yes, it's been great. And so like ever since I really, that the day you were talking about of the man who was like, "Do you want to change your life?" He's the one that introduced me into the network marketing.
Hmm.
Um, and that was like 2 years before I even got sober.
Wow.
So I mean, ever since that day, I have become a conscious creator of my life
Hmm.
as opposed to a reactor to life.
Right.
And that's why I am where I am today, is because I don't react to my circumstances and react to life. I'm creating my life. I'm
Hmm.
creating the relationship I have with my ex-husband.
Yep.
Um, I created the woman that I am today to attract my new husband.
Hmm.
I was put a lot of intention into that, as you know.
Yep.
I'm creating the relationship that I have with Mac today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm creating our membership in the business that I want that gives me the lifestyle that I want.
Yeah.
I'm a conscious creator now more than a reactor. And it really just took me waking up to the fact that like I can design my life how I want it to look and start putting my focus on the desire and raising my belief that it's possible for me. Whatever I want is possible. And the
Yeah.
best way to raise belief is to surround yourself with people who have what you want.
Right. I was gonna say you can say that, but like, what did you truly do? I know there's probably personal development and podcasts and books and gratitude, but like, what are the steps, would you say?
I mean, there's all those things you can do, right? Like start like when because when you surround yourself with people that have what you want, you can model their behavior and model what they do.
Hmm.
And that's one of the fastest ways to get what you want is to model people who have what you want, right?
Yep.
Because it's not it's about because change is truly about like becoming something different and continuing to like level up your identity, change your identity. And you have to be surrounded by it almost so you can feed off of the inspiration, I guess you will
Yeah.
say. So that's a lot of what I did in the beginning, but I will say like transformation oftentimes doesn't just happen. You do have to declare to the universe that you're ready for change.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of my declaration did come from like there was a financial piece involved, because when you pay for something, you are energetically telling the universe, I'm ready for change and I demand it.
Hmm.
And that's when the universe responds.
Yeah.
So when he came to me in the very beginning and said, Jen, are you ready to change your life? Right? That was the first time, really the first time I pulled out my credit card and said, yes,
Yeah.
I am ready, and it was foreign because I'd never invested in myself,
Right.
right? But I told the universe, I'm ready. Here's my credit card,
Yeah.
right? And I paid that man. Well, then so that was the first time. And then I started investing in myself by going to events. Tony Robbins is a big one for me, right?
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
Right.
So, here I'm just constantly telling the universe I'm ready. I hired, when I decided that I wanted, not to just manifest Mac, my new husband, but I wanted, to truly like love myself and become the type of woman that can attract even that kind of energy. I hired a coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's my credit card, universe, right? And really, you decide like so it's about, not just, you know, it's almost like you pay for what you want, but it's like it's the energy and the decision of like it's mine.
Right. I'm ready.
I'm ready. And sometimes if you don't look at it as money, but you look at it is an investment in yourself, but it's like it's just an energetic transfer of this like I am ready.
Yeah.
And that's to why when people like truly change or quantum leap or whatever, it's like when you make the decision.
Exactly. Exactly.
Before I decided to get sober, before I basically paid that gentleman in network marketing, not to help me get sober, but to help me get happy.
Yeah.
You know, Before that, it was just a lot of prayers
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
a lot of like wishful hoping and thinking but seeing myself as separate from those who had what I wanted.
Mm. Yeah.
Made the decision to pay. I guess that was the moment that I saw myself as I am worthy too.
Yeah. And like you said, surrounding yourself with people that are doing it, living the life you want, learning from them. we get to choose who we hang out with. And, if the people are pulling from you, pulling your energy instead of like lifting you up and positivity, that's definitely something I made a conscious decision to do too. And hiring a coach has been huge. I mean, I've had coaches off and on for, I don't know, 8+ years. And again, you have to go with who feels right, right? Like I had watched Jenn for a while and I was like, but that's what I want. I mean, her positivity, you guys, you'll have to go follow her on Facebook, but just her rawness, her realness, just her heart. Now that I know her even more, right? Before she was just on a screen, I didn't know her as a real person, right? And people put whatever they want on Facebook, but just her heart and her compassion and her willingness. And she's just so down to earth and she just loves her people. And I know you love the transformations that you see, which is awesome. So tell me about that because, like, I know there's probably people watching and me too that want to be a coach. And what is that like to step into that role?
To step into the role of a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like once you start figuring some things out and you start to, let go and you start to glow,
Yes.
people tend to gravitate towards you and they want what you have.
Hmm.
And, one of the most fulfilling needs for all of us is to share
Hmm.
and give to others and help. And so, for me, as I was just sharing my own journey, not even thinking like I didn't even know, I knew what coaching was, but I never really saw myself as a coach.
Yeah.
Right. But as I'm sharing, people are coming to me and saying, Jenn, what are you doing? Jenn, how do I do?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, as they're coming to me and I'm helping them and talking to them, there came a point in time where it was like, I was putting so much time and energy into it. I'm like, I feel like I should be getting paid for
Yeah,
this.
definitely.
And so that's when I started, looking into what does that look like
Yeah.
for me.
I love
Hmm.
that. So I didn't realize how organically it happened, but that's even more awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, it was definitely organically.
That's awesome. Well, you seem like such a natural. So let's talk a little bit about again attracting your man because and we can tie in the book club that's coming up. So tell us about the book club and the evolution membership and I guess that's a lot of questions, but and how you attracted your husband. You talked about it a little bit, but I think that's what drew me to you, probably because the place I'm in life, right? So talk about the Queen's Code, the book club coming up, and the membership.
Yeah, so in the membership, we do a weekly book club for all the members. It's really fun. And we are about to start a new book, Allison Armstrong, The Queen's Code. And I've actually never read
Yeah.
it. No, but I talk a lot, about queen energy
Mhm.
and consciously creating what we want. And Allison Armstrong like fits right in a line with that. So, I just decided for the next book we're gonna do the Queen's Code, and I think it's gonna be just really great for all of us.
Yes.
And I love doing the book studies because I love, talking and learning, and they're a little bit more laid back than the other membership calls. And they're just fun and a great way for all us women, especially. There's some men that get on there too, but I think this one will be mainly women on the Queen's
Yeah.
Code, just for us to connect and, talk and share ideas and all the things. So I'm really excited to get that started.
Yes.
I think we're starting that. I don't know when this is going to air, but we're going to start that October 13th, and
Okay.
everything gets recorded.
Yep.
So in case you ever miss or anything like that. So that's going to be great. And then the actual membership, I kind of run that with my now husband, who I manifested. And he's really great because I do believe him and I are a perfect match because he is just intentional with his life as I am with my life. And he's been doing this kind of quote unquote work for many, many years. And so he's really great um at what he does and helping people transform their lives. So I love that we get to do it together. And and I'm just really excited about that. So when I, I say quote unquote manifested him, like I
Yeah.
did, I manifested him.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I definitely did. Because, I mean, especially when you go through divorce, you don't want to make the same mistakes twice, really. And so you kind of want to do everything you can to not repeat the patterns
Hmm.
and, attract the same kind of people, right? Or whatever. And so after my divorce and I hired my coach, him and I got very clear on Jenn, what do you want? How do you want to feel?
Hmm.
And just not with a man, but how do you want to show up just in life in general, with or without a man, right? How
Yeah.
do you want to feel? How do you want to be?
Hmm.
And then, who do I need to become to
Yeah.
get that? So my work was, what does Jen want? And I teach this in the membership too, but it's like, what do I want from all parts of me?
Yep.
And that's different than what a lot of other people go through. It's like, okay, well, what do you want? I want a tall man. I wanted
Right.
this man. I wanted this man. He must make this much money, blah, blah, blah. It's not necessarily like that. It goes much deeper.
Yes.
It's, but it's beautiful because it's like the relationship vision that I created, we created, isn't just about what do you want in a man. It's about what does, Miranda or Jen, what do all parts of me want in life, in everything. Like it just goes so much deeper. And then it's like, okay, this is who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
And 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 then you start to attract. And
Right.
that's what I did, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Definitely. And, I think the same way. It was like, here's the profile I'm looking for, right? This kind of person. But I love, and that's kind of what manifesting is, right? How I love that question of like, how are you going to feel with this person? For me, it's like, I want to feel loved. I want to feel safe. I want to feel passionate. Like, I want to like love this person forever. I don't want to fall out of love. And that takes intention, right? But yeah, it's like walking through your day and this isn't her relationship vision, but parts of it, like how are you going to feel certain times of day when you wake up in the morning or like, that's what I think about anyway. How are you going to be cooking in the kitchen or like, and those kinds of things. It's fun to just kind of visualize that. And I guess again, that's what manifesting is. How are you going to feel with this person? And now, as I'm dating, Jenn is really good about kind of helping me and guide me. And it's like, yeah, I don't even feel great with that. So it's like, what's the point? What am I doing? Where the old me would have stayed in a relationship maybe a little bit longer because this part felt good, but maybe this part didn't. And it was like, she's helped me just get really like crystal clear on what I want, how I feel. And that's with anything in life, right? A business, losing weight. I mean, it's all the same concept. It's about being intentional about that. So I love
Yeah. And also like learning to, trust your intuition, right? And if you're not clear on and create those like standards,
right.
some and we won't we'll let things slide. And then we feel frustrated because we're trying to change the people that we're trying to fit into that box,
Yeah.
right? And so it's about knowing what you want, who do you need to become, and then attracting that and getting really, really good at letting go of
Mhm.
everything that does not fit.
Right. Which
Right?
isn't always easy.
Yeah. So, and also it's, if you like, I want a man I can fully respect, right? But I also need to become a woman that knows how to show men respect.
Hmm.
There's like some different pieces in it here. It's like I wanted a man that would take the lead.
Hmm.
That was a big one for me. I want a man I can respect, a man that can take the lead,
Yeah.
and I spent weeks going to the Grizzly Rose learning how to be led by men,
I love that.
getting in the energy of it, right? They would ask me to dance and I would say yes, and I would go on the dance floor with them and I'd close my eyes.
Talk about
Wh-
trust.
Why? Because I was learning how to trust men. And I'm like, you know what? If he drops me, it's okay. But I'm gonna close my eyes and trust that he's got me. He's going to, not run me into everything and it's all going to be okay. And I literally spent weeks doing that. I wasn't going in the group. I was going because it was fun,
Right.
but I was going by myself with the intention of I'm practicing being led by men here. I'm practicing like learning how to trust men,
Yeah.
right? I'm practicing letting go of control
Hmm.
because I really wanted that man that would take the lead,
Yeah.
right? And so when I was dating, it was like getting really good at letting go of what was not right to get to what is. And then I then here walks in Mac, who's really great at taking the lead, almost so much, too much sometimes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, he's great, but it's like he takes the lead and I, quote unquote, allow him to and trust in him. And I fully respect that, he has my back. And when I show up as a woman who in this energy, it empowers him to continue to show up for me. And he talks about that often.
Hmm. And how does
And
that feel for you?
it makes me feel really good because this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted a man that showed up exactly how Mac does.
Hmm.
Sometimes I feel like he may be too much for people, right? But he's exactly what I wanted, like my vision. What's interesting is he's never even read my vision,
Right.
right? And so, but he just continues to be himself, and I just continue to love him and do my best to, be my best self in the relationship too, to also empower him to continue to show up for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
good.
my first marriage was nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we don't need to get into feminine and masculine energy because time wise, but you guys have podcasts on that. And I just love learning. And again, hearing both your perspectives on this from a man's point of view, from a woman's. And, you know, I am pretty masculine and I'm learning to be feminine and to let go and to trust. And Jenn's really good about like, well, let God teach you and trust him during this until I find a man for that. So I just love that. And that's really what I'm working on. So, well, Jenn, I appreciate you so much. You guys, you have to check out her membership, her podcast. I'll put the link here. There's so much value in that. I don't know what it is a month because I've been in for a few months, but it's mind blowing. Like you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaches, and these two, especially again, a man and a woman perspective. And there's men in the group, there's women in the group. It's honestly just amazing. And they have all the recordings in there. So like I binge watch you guys, I binge watch your podcast when I first met you. So I'm just super grateful to know you and to yeah, just to see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens for me because you have helped me grow into or start becoming who I want to be. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. And I can even give you, Miranda, just a special like link for your
Okay.
view
Yeah, do that.
with some sort of like discount.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, just for your viewers.
Aw, thank you so much. Well, yeah, you guys, obviously, if you like this, share this. I mean, again, so many people I feel like are walking in the world with blinders on, right? And like they want more, but they're not sure what to do. And Jenn and Mac are just a great place to just start learning, just take a step into that life you want to create. And again, Jenn's just an awesome example. So blessed to have you in my life.
I appreciate you and your kind words, and I love you. This was
Love
a lot of
you.
fun. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. Bless you all.
Yes.